You are here. Sit down. Tonight's story is... I can't remember which fork in the road I was at. Totally wrong. When it comes, all I could think about was getting out of that cubicle, escape from a mountain of work, escape the endless socializing and smirking. I need some real quiet. You need to take big breaths of air without car exhaust. You need to keep your feet on the dirt. Feel a little real. So I was carrying the bag. Bring a map and a compass. I plunged into this mountainous area with good scenery. It started off pretty well. Follow the map. Although tired, but my heart is at ease. I don't know when. And things started to look alike. Markers on the map. It doesn't match the situation in front of you. The phone has long lost signal. The compass is also wobbling like it's broken. I try to climb higher. I want to see if I can find my way. The result is just more trees. More fog. Time goes by minute by minute. The sun is getting thinner. The panic in my heart rose like a tide. I shouted a few times. Only the echo of the valley sounds more lonely. Just when I thought I might have to spend the night here. Or even worse. I pushed through a thick bush. The eyes suddenly opened up. It's not the mountaintops or the streams that I had in mind. It was a clearing. This clearing is flat. It's like it's been cleaned up on purpose. The trees surrounded him neatly. And in the middle of this clearing, stands something up. A complete, something that shouldn't be in a place like this. A traffic light. And I was stunned. I thought I was tired and confused, had hallucinations. Rubbing his eyes, he's still there on that lonely metal pole. Above are the familiar 3 lights of red, yellow, and green. It makes me feel even more impossible. And he's lit up. And it's working fine. The red light is on, emitting a steady red glow. That's ridiculous. It's at least a few dozen kilometers from the nearest road. There's no roads, let alone intersections that require traffic lights. How did he get here? Where does electricity come from? What is he doing here? A million questions exploded in my head. But this red light in front of me? But with an inexplicable sense of authority. He's too specific. So real. Real enough to make me feel maybe he has a point here. I came back and walked forward, standing under a traffic light pole. Horrible around. Just my own breathing and heartbeat. I looked up at the red light. It's so ordinary. Ordinary like any traffic light on the street. And here it is. Becomes extremely unusual. I don't know what to do. Is to bypass it and continue to find the way, wait for it to turn green. When this idea came to mind, I find it ridiculous myself. Wait for a traffic light in a field to turn green. Isn't that crazy? But then think about it. I was completely lost. No direction. No clue. This traffic light is weird. It's the only thing in front of the worker. The only thing that seems to have rules. In case. What kind of special guide is he? In case he turns green, it means we can move on. Does that mean the direction is right? It was like grasping at a straw. Gives my confused mind a focus. I can't walk anyway. It's getting dark. Why don't you just wait? Wait for him to turn green. I put my backpack at my feet, sit down against a traffic light pole, look up at the red light on. He is so pure red, so determined, as if it were only natural for me to wait here. I'm in a daze. Thoughts float back to the city. reminds me of the office. It was a breathless project. Remembering the empty room when I came home. Remembering what I was trying to fit in. But I always feel out of place in human relationships. Maybe I'm not just here to see the scenery. More to escape. But now, I seem to have escaped into an even stranger place. The red light is always on. Time seems to freeze. The shadows around the trees are getting longer. The light is getting dimmer. And I sat there, like a fool, waiting for an impossible, something that appears here, transform into an impossible color. But I had no choice. I can only wait. How long has the red light been on? I didn't look at my watch. The phone is also dead. It feels like a long time. It didn't take long. Sitting on the ground, the butt is a little cold. My legs are numb. I try to stand up and move. Walked around the traffic lights a few times. He just stood there, like a silent guard, and I started looking around. This clearing is really flat. The ground is dry soil, no weeds. The trees at the edge of the clearing are tall, dense canopy, cover the sky tightly. It stands to reason. It should be filled with sound. Insect song and bird song. The wind rustles the leaves. But now, except for the occasional distant sound that is not really audible, it's eerily quiet here. Quiet is a bit too much. I'm back under the traffic light. Keep staring at that red light. He's still red. I'm starting to feel something is wrong. Normal traffic light, even long cycles. It won't take so long. My eyes are fixed on it, trying to find out if it's broken. But it shines so steadily, so even. It doesn't look like a malfunction at all. As I stared at him, I felt the light flicker around me. Not the flashing lights, it's the light of the environment. Like someone suddenly dimmed the brightness. And then I turned it back on, and I blinked. I thought I was blinded. Maybe the clouds are moving. You can look up. The canopy blocks the sky tightly. Can't see the cloud at all. Then I heard some noises. Not that familiar forest sound, like a very slight rubbing sound, like something wriggling in the ground. I pricked up my ears and listened carefully. The sound is gone again. After a while, appeared again. Intermittent. It's creepy. I console myself. This is probably the sound made by animals in the mountains. I just haven't heard of it. Or what insect. I'm not a professional wilderness explorer. It's normal to be unfamiliar with these sounds, but the feeling that something was wrong grew stronger and stronger. And I noticed that. Yellow and green traffic lights. Although it doesn't light up, but the light bulb inside seems to be glowing. It's like a weak current is flowing through. It was a very faint light. If you don't look carefully, you can't find it at all. And that gets weirder. How can a light that is not on shine? And I got up and I walked over to the light. Reaching out to touch the pole, see if there is vibration or temperature. As soon as I reached out, I hesitated. An inexplicable sense of resistance made me stop. Although this traffic light looks ordinary, but here he is. It is the greatest extraordinary in itself. A voice in my heart told me it's best not to touch him casually. I returned it again, sit down again. And I started thinking about how I got here. Remember every step clearly. Nothing weird happened. Just got lost, and here it is. Is it this place or this traffic light? It's especially for the lost. And that gave me the chills. The surrounding light, the line flashed again. This time it's more obvious. With flickering, I feel as if the air has moved to, like water waves. I take a breath. There was nothing in the air but the smell of trees and dirt. There seems to be a hint of ambiguity, unclear odor. Kind of like rusty metal. It's like wet mud. But more complicated, more uncomfortable. I tell myself, It's all because I'm too tired. High stress. That's why these hallucinations occur. Light change. It could be the sun shining through the gaps in the leaves. It's blocked by something. Sound. Maybe the wind blew something. The smell of the air. Maybe there are some special plants nearby. I try to use science or often reason to explain it all, but that little uneasy voice in my heart. It's getting smaller. The red light is still on. Firmly lit. And I looked at him. It's like he's looking at me. The thought of waiting for the green light. It is no longer a hope for direction. It became a stalemate. A confrontation. I have to wait until he turns green, as if only I can prove it's normal here. I'm just temporarily stuck. Rather than falling into some strange trap, time crawls slowly. Or rather, time seems to have lost its meaning here. I don't know how long I waited, but it feels longer than ever, waiting for a red light. That tiny sense of dissonance persists, like background noise. Keep reminding me that something is wrong here. The red light has finally changed. Instead of turning yellow and then green, instead, the fog went out directly. I stood up abruptly. Heartbeat missed a beat. He's broken. But just when I thought about it, the green light is on. The green ones are incredibly bright. It's fluorescent. Turned the surrounding leaves of eerie green. At the moment the green light came on, everything around has changed. Not the kind of gradual change. It's like special effects in a movie. Instantaneous. The first is sound. It was just a faint sound of friction and whispers. Now suddenly zoom in. Becomes clear and harsh. Like the sound of countless nails scratching the blackboard. Like rusty gears turning. Mixed with a kind of animal's dying cry. These voices came from all directions. Get into my ear. It makes my scalp tingle. And then the vision. And my vision started to warp. The trees at the edge of the clearing are no longer upright. They're stretched like Play-Doh. Twisted branches, twisted together, forming weird shapes. It's like coming alive. The ground is no longer dry soil. It bulges in places. It's like there's something down there. And it dips in places. Expose the dark hole. The smell in the air. It gets thicker. It smells gross. Even a little dizzy. The green light still shines brightly, but it illuminated a completely pastoral world. I'm standing in the middle of the clearing. I feel like a clown trapped on stage. My heart was beating out of my chest. Cold hands and feet. The body starts shaking uncontrollably. It's not tiring, not hungry. It's pure instinctive fear. I know what I'm waiting for isn't a career. It's some kind of horrible switch. Just then, I saw them. They're not moving, not human either. First appeared is the edge of the clearing. The shadows under the twisted tree heads. These shadows are no longer simple black outlines. They become three-dimensional, become sticky, like black liquid. Stripped from the trunk. Then squirm on the ground, converge them without a clear shape. Just a dark, ever-changing shadow. But they are moving. Towards the center of the clearing. Move towards me tight. Then, I heard a click on the ground. I looked down. Cracks opened where the ground bulged. Drill something out of it. They look like giant insects. But it's not any insect I know. They have hard shells. The joint bends in an unnatural twitch. Makes a teething sound. Their eyes are in the green light. Flashing red light. No pupils, only one piece of red. There aren't many of them, only a few. But the moment they appear, I feel the air around me freeze. I can even see between the twisted tree trunks. There are blurry human figures shaking. They are tall, very thin, stiff, and sluggish. But they are indeed humanoid. They have no faces, or their faces are blurry. Plain without features. They just stand there, look at me quietly, or rather in my direction. Fear coursed through me like an electric current. I can barely think. That weird traffic light. He turned green. And here's what happens. He doesn't hesitate. He is a trap. I don't care what to wait for anymore. The only thought is to escape. Escape this clearing. Escape from this green light. Escape from these menacing shadows and creatures. I turned around abruptly in the direction it came from, or the direction I thought I came from. Stumbling and running. The ground under my feet is soft and hard, made me almost fall. The strange sound in my ears is getting louder as if chasing after me. I dare not look back, only those shadows and creatures. It must still be there. Or is it approaching me? I ran as fast as I could to the edge of the clearing, rushed to the twisted forest. The green light is getting farther and farther behind me. But the kind of being watched, the feeling of being chased is like a shadow. I didn't know where I was running to. I just know I have to get out of here. Leave the clearing with the weird green light on. I plunged into the twisted woods. Branches scraped my face like arms. The ground is uneven. I can barely stand still, but I didn't stop. I just run like hell. Hope to get rid of the horror behind, hoping to escape this nightmarish place. I don't know how long I've been running. How far did you run? The clearing behind him with a strange green light. And those from the twisted ground. And what comes out of the shadows? Imprinted in my head like a soldering iron, drive me forward. I hear the howling wind, mixed with my heavy breathing and the chaotic sound of stepping on the ground under your feet. Those disgusting noises still seems to be chasing me. The reality makes me dare not stop in the slightest. I plunged into this forest, then the distorted view at the edge of the clearing, and chaos. Trees are no longer simply twisted and their branches are entangled like living creatures, forming an airtight web. Some of the trunks are covered with strange bumps, cold and creamy to the touch. Venerable Master's heart is hairy. The ground is uneven. Sometimes it's like stepping on a soft quagmire. Depressed ankle. Sometimes as hard as iron. Every step made the soles of my feet hurt. The smell in the air is even stronger. No longer just rusty golden trees, the smell of moist earth. There is also a rotten sweetness. It makes you sick to your stomach. I stumbled and ran. Small cuts on the face, scraped by branches. The backpack also wobbled from hitting the tree trunk. There was only one thought in my mind. Leave here. Leave that terrifying clearing. Leave that green light. I thought I would just get out of there. I can go back to before me, the lost forest. Back to the lost. But at least the world seems normal. But soon I realized I was wrong. When I slow down a little, when trying to identify the direction, I found everything around me clear. Total stranger. This is not the mountain where I was lost before, although the trees there are tall. But at least it's well behaved. The ground is just ordinary soil and fallen leaves. And it's a whole other world. The trees here are not only twisted, and their colors started to look unnatural. Some are morbidly gray-green. Some were an unhealthy purple. Leaves are not ordinary leaf shapes. Some look like deformed claws. Some solidify like a sticky liquid. I tried to push the branches out of the way with my hands, and they were incredibly resilient. And it's cold to the touch. Not a shred of life that a plant should have. What scares me even more is life. The sound of the wind blowing through the leaves completely changed here. No more rustling. It's more like millions of people whispering. The voices are muffled, but with a cold malice, as if laughing at my helplessness. Occasionally, I could hear a strange clicking sound in the distance, or friction, like some giant mechanical creature moving around. And I stopped, leaning against a twisted tree trunk, gasping for air, physical exhaustion and mental fear like two mountains weighing down on me. I look around. Except for these weird trees and ground, can't see anything. No creek. No rocks. There's nothing I've ever seen before. Tei Sheng, not only did I not escape back to where I came from, instead, it seems to have entered a new, more dangerous areas. And the despair came back. Stronger than before when I got lost. Before, I'm just lost, and there's hope of finding a way out. But now I feel myself. It's like falling into a labyrinth of nightmares. And the labyrinth is still changing. It keeps growing. I don't know the shadows and bugs that chase me. Is it still nearby? But I can feel a sense of oppression everywhere. It was as if the entire forest was staring at me. Every tree, every leaf, even every inch of the ground under your feet, full of malice. I can't sit still. I have to keep going, keep looking for your way, although I don't know where the direction is, but to stop would just eat me up with fear. I take a breath. The sweet, putrid smell in the air, it makes me sick. I fought my discomfort, take another step, heading in a random direction. Every step is incredibly difficult. The ground sinks or bulges from time to time. I could fall at any moment. Those twisted branches are like consciousness, always in front of me. Or suddenly shake as I pass by. You startled me. The low rain sounds are getting clearer and clearer. Although I don't understand the specific content, that eerie tone made me count down. I try to stay awake, trying to get out of this chaotic environment, find even the slightest pattern. Maybe go in the direction of the uplift. Perhaps avoid the weirdest colored trees. But I soon found out there's no pattern here at all. Everything is random. Messy, as if the place itself were a living, malicious presence, teasing me, the intruder. I feel like I'm going deeper and deeper. The scene around is getting more and more bizarre. The fear didn't subside. Instead, because of being in this completely unknown, completely distorted environment that is constantly exacerbated, I began to wonder, can I still find it back? Is there any way out of here alive? This thought haunts me like a viper. I almost lost the courage to move on. But I know I can't stop. I have to keep going until you find an exit or know me. I dare not think any further. How long have I been walking in this twisted forest? No idea at all. Hunger and exhaustion have numbed my body. But the mental torment is getting deeper and deeper. The weirdness here hasn't abated in the slightest. It became more mundane, can be disturbing. I found myself going in circles all the time, gone for a long time. Saw a tree with a particularly peculiar shape. I thought I had come a long way. After a while, I'm back near that tree again. And this happened several times. It made me completely lose my sense of direction and time. It's like an infinite maze. No matter how I go, can't get rid of. Those weird sounds have also become more diverse. Except for whispers and scrapes, I started to hear some sounds like crying. pumping up like a child in the distance, like a woman whimpering. These sounds are erratic. It sounds pretty miserable. But when I asked about reputation, I can't see anything. Only twisted trees and shadows. Sometimes, the ground will suddenly rise and fall like a wave. Make me unsteady. I saw the dirt wriggling under my feet like a living thing. You can even see some white ones. Something like a root shrinks rapidly in the soil. Well, one time I almost stepped into a pit that suddenly appeared. It's pitch black, emitting a stronger putrid smell, as if connected to some unknown abyss. The creatures also appeared again, and they come in many forms. Those black shadows no longer just squirm. They started to pull, stretching, sometimes mimics my shape. Silently follow behind me. It made me feel cold. Those giant insect-like creatures, I saw them again. They're crawling fast up twisted tree trunks. Make a clicking sound. Red eyes twinkle in the shadows. It gives me the creeps. And here's what's even scarier. I'm starting to see something new. Between the cracks in the trees, I built some pale limbs. They were bending in unnatural positions, like an abandoned doll. They don't move. But their very existence, it was enough to send my heart into cardiac arrest. And some of the time, I would see some blurry blobs of light flickering in the distance. They move erratically. It's like looking into my eyes in the dark. I'm trying to find a place to rest, but everywhere I went, I felt unsafe. Every inch of this land, every tree is filled with hostility. I feel myself like a bug trapped in a spider's web. No matter how you struggle, will only get deeper and deeper. I began to speak into the air, shout out to those twisted trees. Hope to get any response. Any indication that there's something else alive here. Even those terrifying creatures. But respond to my only those icy low rains and miserable cries. In a desperate attempt, I climbed a slightly less twisted tree. I hoped to see if there is a way out from a height. I crawled cautiously. The trunk is cold and hard. When I finally reached a certain height, when you open the branches and leaves that block your eyes and look out, my heart sank to the bottom. What I see, it's an endless, twisted forest. All the way into the distant fog. No mountains, no sky, only this morbid green and purple intertwined canopy. And occasionally above the canopy, flickering unnatural light. Then, at a great distance, I see a faint spot of light. It's red. He's so small, so far away, but the light he emits is very striking. He's like a sign that mocks me. Tell me no matter how far I run, how hard you struggle, I didn't really escape. That weird traffic light, or rather, something that he represented is still there. And that's probably what got me into this. I slipped down the tree, fell to the ground. The pain briefly woke me up. Despair drowned me like a tide. I feel like I'm cornered. I didn't know where to go, don't know what to do. I'm just an ordinary person. One wants to escape from city life, but strayed into an incomprehensible, ordinary people in an irresistible world of terror. I curled up on the ground. Cover your ears with your hands, trying to isolate those weird sounds. The body is shaking, tears flowed unconsciously. I've never felt more alone and more terrified. I don't know how long I can hold on. This place, he's not trying to kill me. He seemed to want to torture me more. Break me down, keep me trapped here forever. Be part of his distorted landscape. Just when I thought I was about to collapse, or by this twisted forest, when devoured completely, it happened. I was lying half asleep under a tree. Confusion in my head, the low sound of rain around, and strange light and shadow still exist. but I don't have the strength to pay attention to them anymore. I just want to fall asleep. I hope it's all just a nightmare when I wake up. I didn't know if I was asleep. Still blurred for a while. When I woke up again, I feel as if something happened. The strong, rotten sweetness is gone. Instead of its familiar soil and the fresh scent of plants. The sound of rain in my ears has also disappeared. All I hear is the wind rustling through the leaves. Birdsong in the distance. I open my eyes abruptly. I see ordinary trees. Although it is still a dense forest. But these trunks are a normal brown. The branches and leaves are healthy green. They grow tall and upright. No sign of distortion. The ground is soft soil, covered with fallen leaves. There are no bumps, no depressions. The sun shines through the gaps in the leaves. It's a patchwork of light and shadow. It's not a sickly, unnatural glow. I was stunned. I sat up. Look around. This forest, he's so normal. Normal enough to make me feel unreal. I reached out my hand cautiously. Touched the tree trunk beside me. Rough bark. Solid touch. Cold but vibrant. These are real trees. And I stood up. Try taking a few steps. The ground is stable. Every step is reliable. I take a breath. Fresh air. With the fragrance of earth and plants. There's no nasty smell. How did I suddenly come here? I don't know. No borders. There is no obvious transition, like I suddenly fell out of a nightmare. Back to reality. Maybe I accidentally crossed some kind of boundary. Maybe that place spit me out. I can't understand it at all, but understanding doesn't matter anymore. The important thing is that I seem to be back in the normal forest. I pulled out the compass from my backpack. He lay quietly in the palm of his hand. The pointer points steadily to the north. I tried to pull out the map, although he was soaked in sweat. But the contour lines and markings on it, still clearly visible. I found my way. I found my way back. The next journey, although physically exhausted, but I was filled with joy for the rest of my life. I follow the compass and proceed in the direction indicated by the map. Every step is taken firmly and eagerly. I didn't encounter anything weird again. Only normal forest scenes and condors. Finally, after a long walk, I heard voices in the distance. And the sound of cars. I know I'm back. When I finally came out of the forest, when seeing roads and vehicles, I literally collapsed. A few people passing by saw my embarrassed appearance. The child was startled. Then come and ask. And I was trying to explain that I was lost. But about the traffic lights and the twisted forest, I can't say a word. I know no one will believe it. Just think I'm crazy. I was sent to a nearby town. I ate and took a break. The physical fatigue was soon relieved, but the mental wounds are far from healing. It was like a real nightmare. Every detail, it's all clearly imprinted in my mind. That lonely traffic light, his presence in the fog of the wilderness, red lights, long waits, and tiny The environment distorts instantly when the green light is on, and those terrifying creatures, and me in that boundless distortion, desperate struggle in the forest. They're not hallucinations. I know they are real. After returning to the city, I try to get my life back to normal. Back to my cubicle. Continue to face those breathless jobs, but everything has changed. I can't be as free as I used to be. Just close your eyes. I would see those twisted trees and wriggling shadows. As long as you hear strange noises, I remember the whispers in my ear and cry. Just a little unusual smell. I will remember the sweet smell of decay. I became paranoid. Can't stand the darkness and silence. I often have nightmares at night. I dreamt that I was back in the forest again, dreaming of that traffic light turning on again. I know that experience is in my heart, leaving wounds that cannot heal. I escaped from that place, but part of that place, it seems to stay in my head forever. The traffic light in the wilderness, that twisted world, creatures that shouldn't exist. They're like a shadow that lasts forever, shrouded in my life. I don't know what they are. I don't know why they exist. I don't know why I met them. All I know is that they're real horrors. And I am an ordinary city person. Have broken into their territory and came back with an indelible mark. I have never been to that mountain again. Even avoid going to any remote places. I'm afraid in some random corner. Saw a lonely one again. A red light. Because I know, once the red light turns green, it's all over. And that kind of waiting, the fear of the unknown, will always be with me.